we're going to learn how to do a bevel effect and a gradient on text. Two projects in one, and I will show you how to save them side by side like this for your Google Site portfolio. So let's head over to Google first. We're going to need a background for this bevel image. So again, I'm typing in a grungy background. That's just my preference. We're doing a bevel. The nice clean cut of the bevel has a nice contrast with a grungy background, so that's why I chose that. Your background is up to you as long as it's school appropriate and it goes with your text. So to start, I'm going to right click or open up the right click menu on my Chromebook, and I'm going to choose copy image, and I'm going to go over to Pixlr E and choose create new. I am working in full HD, and I'm going to call this one Bevel and my last name. We are going to have to save these projects separately, and then we will put them together at the end. So I'm going to paste this in. I can either do edit paste or Control V, and that'll paste it in. I want to size it so that it fits, and then crop the edges out that I don't need. Hit enter to crop. Get rid of my ad. All right, I'm going to create a new text layer, and I'm going to type my word, which I chose artist surprise. I'm going to choose a color that kind of goes with my image, and the easiest way to do that is to use the color picker and pick a color right from your picture. So that's the color I'm going with. I want to pick a font that has angles to it, but is easy to read. I believe this is the font I used on mine. It has nice clean angles. It's a thicker font, so there's room for that bevel in there. And then I do want to make this bigger so that it kind of fits most of the space in my image. When I have the two purple crosshairs, it tells me it's centered on my page. And then I'm going to go over to layer settings, and I'm going to rename this with original. That way I know it is good to go. So I need to go up to layer and choose rasterize so that I can go to filter and choose bevel. So it started to make a little bevel on here. I want the bevel to take away the color on my image. I do for mine. If you want less of a bevel so you can see more of the color, that's fine. It's up to you. I think this looks kind of cool. I'll leave just a little bit of that color on there. And you can kind of change some of the highlight. I like the angular look. You can change the shadow setting. And I'm going to hit apply. Cool. I have that. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my layer. And I'm going to go up to filter, and I'm going to add a drop shadow. So I want the drop shadow to be on the same side as the shadow in my bevel so that it looks like my light source is believable. That means that the light is coming from this angle, it's hitting this edge, and the shadow behind it is in shadow. That means that the shadow coming off of my bevel is going to be on this side also. So it's down and to the left. So let's get the blur on there so it's a little bit bigger. Bump up the opacity to see it a little bit better. And then here's my offset. I don't want to move it this way because that's weird lighting issues. If I move it this way, it's much more believable and it pops off my image better. To make it even better, I'm going to move it down a little bit so that it's the same angle as the light hitting my bevels. And hit apply. And guess what? That's it for the bevel. Easy. Save it. We're going to save it as a JPEG right now. And then I want you to also save it as a PXD, just in case you have to go back and fix it. So I'm going to download that. It'll be ready soon. Cool. I'm going to hit the home button because I'm going to create a new one with full HD. And we're going to call this gradient text. And and your last name and hit create. We are going to fill the background with black. I already had black selected here. And I'm going to create a new text layer, and I'm going to use the same word, artist. Right now my text is black. It's on a black background. I'm not going to be able to see it. So for now I'm going to change it to white. It's just going to make it easy to see. I'm going to change my font. I used this one in my example, but maybe I'll do a different one this time. What font goes with my word? That could be kind of fun. And for this activity, this font is a little bit big because I want to fit 3 of these on here. That looks better. And I want my font a little bit more spread out. So if I go into the settings here, I can go into letter spacing, and it will spread out the spacing between my letters so that it kind of expands it more. It just fills the page a little bit more. So I like that. I'm going to put a 1 here. I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm going to go into my layer settings, and I'm going to put a 2 here and duplicate it again. Go into my layer settings and put 3. So layer 2 is right here. I'm using my arrow keys to move my layer down. You can use your mouse if you want. And layer 3 is right here. I'm moving it down. Just using my arrow keys. It's a little slower, but keeps it all lined up. And that's what I'm going for right now. Almost there. Keep going. A little more. Cool. That looks good. The next thing I need to do is rasterize each of these layers. So layer 1, go to layer, rasterize. Layer 2, layer, rasterize. Layer 3, layer, rasterize. Now I'm ready to start adding gradients to these. So I'm going to start with my layer 1. I need to go to select and select pixels. And that's going to select the white in my text here. I'm going to go to the gradient tool, and I'm going to choose a gradient that I like. I want bright colors. I'm in the mood for bright colors right now. This purple and blue one is good. So I'm going to drag this across. I'm going to deselect, do the same for my next layer. And I'm going to finish this for the rest of my layers. I'm going to hit save. And then in just a moment, I will show you how to okay, so I'm back here at the home screen in Pixlr E, and I have my bevel example and my gradient example, and I want to put them together into one file so that I can post it on my Google site in one piece. So I'm going to go to Create New. I'm going to choose Full HD, and this time I'm going to call it Bevel and Gradient Text, and then my last name. I'm going to hit Create. So I'm going to choose a new layer, and I'm going to choose image, and I'm going to choose the bevel first that I just created, and I'm going to shrink it down so that it fits over on this side. It's going to take up about half the screen. And I'm going to create another new image layer. I'm going to choose the gradient that I created, and I'm going to shrink it down so it fits about half the screen. And then I'm going to take the crop tool, and I'm going to crop them and hit enter. Now they are next to each other. I'm going to hit file to save, and then you're going to save it as a JPEG and as a PXD file, just in case you have to go back and do anything with it again. It'll be ready in a couple seconds. Then once you're done, make sure that you load your work to your Google site, title it, and then there are questions on the typed directions. Make sure that you answer those in the space below your work. Copy the link to your site and paste it in the private comments in Google Classroom, and then submit so that I can check your work. If you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, good luck with this project and have fun.